Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. Well, today's second video, that's going to take us to around the 12th of July. So we'll see what the GFS and the ECMWF have to say about the weather in the next week to 10 days. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles running to around a couple of weeks. And of course, as usual, we'll have a look at CFSV2. For the next month as well. Talking of the next month, we've released this week's ECMWF 30-day look ahead, so that's covering the weather for the UK and for the rest of Europe as well for the next 30 days. Pretty much takes us to the end of July, so it's a bit of a July look ahead, if you like. So we're going to start off by having a look at the data for June. That's in now, so we'll start there at the UK Met. So this is the mean temperature anomaly for June 2019 set against the 81 to 2010 average. And you can see that it was a very, very average sort of month temperature-wise. So we've got the far southeast of England here and some eastern coastal counties, a little bit on the mild and average side, and also for northwestern parts of Scotland, northern western Scotland, a little bit warmer than average there. Otherwise, generally, just close to average with a not particularly big deviation either way. Look at the contrast, though, compared to June 2018. So that's June 2018. Very, very warm month indeed. Hot month across the country, and a real contrast in terms of the temperature anomaly. Now, as far as precipitation is concerned, it looks much more dramatic. This is how the rainfall anomalies are looking for June 2019, set against the 81 to 2010 average. Very, very wet month across England and Wales. So let's go to Scotland first of all. There, not as wet. Interestingly, it's one of those unusual months where it was drier, not completely dry, but drier in the north, wetter towards the south. So across Scotland, we're somewhere around 100% of average. So we're very, very close to average across Scotland. But come down across England and Wales, you see just how wet it was, particularly through parts of Wales into the Midlands and up towards Lincolnshire. So kind of like this area just here has up to and over 200% of their average June rainfall. Widely across England and Wales, we see kind of like 150 to 175% of average. So it's a very, very wet month indeed. Also quite a wet month across the Northern Ireland. And the contrast to June 2018 couldn't be more dramatic. Look how dry it was in June last year, where much of central, southern, southeast parts of England and Wales actually at or under just 20% of their average rainfall. So an incredible contrast from June 2018 to June 2019, particularly on the precipitation side. Finally, sunshine-wise, we look like this in terms of our percentage. So actually quite a dull month for England and Wales. Sunshine was below average, a little bit above average in this extreme southeast corner. And actually for much of northern England and going up into eastern parts of Scotland, quite a sunny June up there. Again, telling us that the cloud and rain was down in the south, but drier conditions. Not completely dry, but it was drier up in the north, and that allowed more sunny spells to come through at times. But a bit of a sunshine deficit, particularly again through those areas where it's wettest, so kind of like Wales up through the Midlands up towards Lincolnshire, Yorkshire. Those areas that were wettest also turn out to be dullest, with kind of like 70 to 90% of their average sunshine. So a very sort of memorable June. This one particularly from a precipitation point of view, probably not the sort of memories most people would have wanted, but there we go, it was a very, very wet month indeed. Now this is the CFSV2 region 3.4 sea surface temperature anomaly forecast for the ENSO region in the Pacific Ocean. Just what I'd show you is I don't normally talk about this in the weekday videos. This is not the sort of thing we have in Gav's Weather's Sunday Roundup, but I thought I'd just show you this because it does look as though the CFS is beginning to shift now towards a potential, anyway, for a cold event, for a La Nina. So we've got our dates on the bottom, of course. These are monthly periods, so that's July, where we are now, that's October, and that's January 2020. Temperature anomalies are along the side. So that's around average in terms of the temperature anomaly in the central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. When we go up here, we're going into El Nino threshold. When we go down there, we're going into cold event, La Nina threshold. To get these events designated, we need to be at or above the all-important half a degree mark, either half a degree above average for El Nino, or half a degree below average, just here, for La Nina. So it's always that 0.5, that is the all-important number. Now, where we are right now, and have been for some time, is right on the border between ENSO neutral. So anything that's like there to there, that's ENSO neutral. It's neither La Nina or El Nino. Just been on that border between sort of El Nino and ENSO neutral, somewhere around, or just around that half a degree temperature mark. Now the black dash line is the ensemble mean, and that's dipping down to ENSO neutral. So CFS is seeing an end to this weak El Nino. From now onwards, really, we go back to ENSO neutral. But I want to show you the coloured lines here. So the red lines, this is the CFS ensemble plume. The red lines are the oldest ensemble plume members. The blue lines are the newest ensemble plume members. And you'll see that quite a few of these blue lines, so the newest ensemble plume members, are now starting to dip away into La Nina territory, weak La Nina territory anyway, between half a degree and 1 degree below average. One or two just here, we're actually going down to moderate La Nina type territory. Obviously those are outliers. So if we was to take, the reason the black dash line is around there is because we've got a split really between ensemble plume. We've got the oldest members up here, newest members are down there. If we was to take out these oldest members, so if we was to completely eradicate them, not take them into account, let's mark them out, there we go, we will find that this black dash line would be doing something much more like that with the newer members of the ensemble plume, and that would be taking us into weak La Nina territory. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. It could be that CFS is going off on a bit of a tangent at the moment, or it could be starting to pick up on not only a collapse of the weak El Nino that we've had since the end of last year, a collapse of the weak El Nino, could also be starting to pick up on a transition, on a switch through the second half of this summer into a weak La Nina, into a weak cold event. That could have impacts for the winter period, in particular, winter of 2019-2020, if we find ourselves going into a weak La Nina, or even something even stronger in terms of La Nina. So it's going to be interesting to monitor this over the next few days and weeks. Of course, we'll be keeping you posted about that at Gav's Weather. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Manchester. We're at Manchester today. So we're starting off rather cool at the moment. Temperatures will be lifting up through the second half of this week. Going to get quite warm by Thursday down across the south. I think we could be seeing temperatures up to around 27 degrees, perhaps around 80 Fahrenheit. Doesn't last very long though. By the end of the weekend, the temperatures are falling away again. And as we go through into the second week of July, this period just here, and heading up into the middle part of the month, just really keeping those ensembles very, very close to average. What is apparent though is that it begins to get more unsettled the further on we go within the ensemble. So a lot of dry weather to come through the rest of this week and into the weekend. But from early next week onwards, it looks like it's turning more unsettled. And eventually, by the time you get through to the middle part of July, it does look as though we've got quite a lot of rainfall spikes indeed. Now that's extended extended range, so it's unreliable, both in terms of a GFS and its ensemble, but it could be that we're going to be setting up something rather wetter as we go through to the middle part of July. We shall have to wait and see on that, but certainly that does look as though as it's going along after a dry start, it's increasingly moving towards unsettled conditions. Temperature anomalies from the 1st to the 9th of July, a little bit cooler than average for the UK and the island. Most parts of northern Europe coming out cooler than average as well. Really quite cold over Scandinavia, with temperature anomalies kind of 8 to 10 degrees below average. Precipitation anomalies look dry, so cool and dry, summing it up really from the 1st through to the 9th of July. So this is how the latest GFS operational run is looking for Friday. Still under a ridge of high pressure in most parts of the country on Friday. That will maintain pretty warm weather for England and Wales. As I say, temperatures probably mid to potentially upper 20s Celsius at the end of the week down in the south-southeast. But in the north, it's taking a little bit cooler and a little bit more unsettled. And by Saturday, that high pressure is pulling out to the west of us, and we're tilting the wind into the north. So obviously that's bringing cooler air down from the north as we get through to the weekend. Showers, particularly for northern eastern parts of the country. Probably a lot of dry weather though, particularly in the south and the southwest. Into the early part of next week, looking rather cool and showery. This is Monday the 8th, so low pressure is up to our north. That could bring showers or longer spells of rain to Scotland. Probably still just about holding on to mostly dry weather for England and Wales. Temperatures a little bit on the cool side. And as we go through next week, actually, GFS wants to sort of build up this high pressure again, extend it back in from the west. So that's going back to mainly dry conditions again through the middle part of next week. Nothing too bad up towards day 10, but by the time we get to day 10, which is Friday the 12th of July, then we're starting to move low pressure in from off the Atlantic. And as we go to the extended range of the GFS, it does turn very, very unsettled indeed. Look at this low pressure sitting over top of the country as we get towards the middle part of July. So presumably that's where a lot of those ensemble members that are turning things wetter around the middle part of the month, presumably that's why they're doing it. Also, northern blocking coming back, so high pressure returning towards Greenland. That forces the jet stream southwards, of course. Energy in the Atlantic is provided by the strength of the sun and of the warmth at this time of the year, so the jet stream plunges southwards, and then the energy, because of the time of the year, produces low pressure. So northern blocking, always a bad sign in the summer. And as you get through to the end of this particular GFS run, which takes us to Thursday the 18th of July, it's looking very cool and very unsettled, to say the least. So first week to 10 days of July, not too bad. Probably the first 12 days of July, not too bad. But after that, rather ominous signs there with the GFS. Let's have a look at what the ECM is showing. So again, not too bad at all on Friday. Thursday, Friday will be pleasantly warm, especially so down in the south. By Saturday, we begin to turn the wind into the north, so that brings cooler air southwards across the country over the weekend, but still with a lot of dry weather over the weekend. Plenty of useful weather coming up over the weekend, just being a little bit on the chilly side. Through to the early part of next week, we remain in the same sort of pattern, really, with a fair amount of high pressure close to us, keeping mostly dry conditions going, but it will be a little bit on the cool side. Into the middle part of next week, well, high pressure gradually easing away to our east, and low pressure slowly starting to get more influence. So by the time you get through to day 10, again, it's Friday the 12th of July, we're just beginning to move this low pressure back in off the Atlantic, very much where the GFS is around this day 10 period. Low pressure heading in off the Atlantic, potentially turning us much more unsettled for the middle of July. ECM looks like that. Again, Friday going to be quite warm and dry down in the south. Temperatures again potentially mid to upper 20s. But by Saturday, the high pressure is out to our west, turning into the north again. So cooler air pushing across the country over the weekend, albeit still with a reasonable amount of dry weather. There will be showers in the north and the east, but a lot of us are going to stay dry, I think, over the weekend. Just temperatures will take a bit of a tumble. And then into next week, where we tried to build a bit of a reach to our south, but low pressure is out to the north and west. Notice again the northern blocking signal up here. Got quite a bit of high pressure back in around Greenland once again. It's never a particularly good sign in the summer. And as we go through to the extended range of the ECM, it just turns increasingly unsettled. So by the time we get through to day 10, which is Friday 12th of July, we're under an area of low pressure looking cool and wet by that point. So ECM is a little bit quicker in bringing this unsettled weather to us. It does it by around sort of the 10th to the 12th of July, whereas the GFS and the GMs don't really have the unsettled weather getting going until around the 12th of July itself. But they're all going in the same sort of direction today, which is rather unsettled, or potentially very unsettled, from the 12th onwards and up to the middle part of July. Not particularly good signs for mid-July, it has to be said. These are the options that have gone on the table within the ECM ensembles today. From the Icelandic Met Office, this is the 12th of July, which is of course day 10. So we have 21 members of the ECM ensembles with above average heights, high pressure out to our west, but also blocking to the north. Below average heights are to the east, so cool, showery really with those at day 10. We have 15 that look very, very unsettled. Below average heights, low pressure, just steamrolling in from off the Atlantic. Northern blocking up here is sending the jet stream southwards. Those look pretty ominous. Does include the ECM operational run as well. That's the run we was just looking at, of course. And we've got another 15 with above average heights again centred around Greenland. And deep trough of below average heights over and to the east of the country. Those are unsettled. Probably not quite as unsettled as these 15. But nevertheless, this 15 just here are unsettled. They'd be bringing showers or longer spells of rain. And they'd be pretty cool as well. The wind would be from a northerly direction. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. They don't look very good, I'm afraid. This is for the 17th of July. With 16 members of the ECM ensembles with a trough of low pressure over the top of the country. So obviously they're going to be unsettled. 13, again, low pressure over top of the country and a little bit stronger with the northern blocking as well. Again, they look pretty grim. We've got 11 that look a bit better, above average heights just to our south-southeast. Low pressure in the Atlantic, so probably a bit mixed, but at least that would be a bit of a warmer option. And then there's another 11 down here that have low pressure extending through the country to the east of us. And again, obviously that's going to be very unsettled and quite cool too. So the trends are there, that the middle part of July is looking rather ominous signs for the middle of July today. Finally, CFS V2, can that rescue things for mid-July? Let's have a look. These are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period takes from the 2nd to the 8th of July. The coming week with the above average heights over and to west-northwest, below average heights up to the northeast, doing something like that, flowing with jet. Fair amount of dry weather in the weekend, not particularly warm, the wind's coming in from the northwest, but fair amount of dry weather to enjoy. Week 2 is the 9th to the 15th of July. This is when a lot of these models are turning things more unsettled, but the CFS, good old CFS, has us under this ridge of high pressure, keeping a lot of dry and fairly warm weather going. It does have a strong northern blocking signal, interestingly, lots of high pressure up here, but somehow or other it's managing to hold on to mainly dry and quite warm conditions there. Does it hold on any longer? Well, this is week 3. It's the 16th to the 22nd of July. Still that area of above average heights over and to our south. So again, that looks pretty dry and quite warm. Bring the air up in that sort of direction. It's not until week 4 that the CFS finally turns things unsettled. This is the 23rd to 29th of July, above average heights then, coming back to our north, bringing the jet stream through rather like that. So the CFS does eventually get there to a much more unsettled spell, but it doesn't do it until the final week of July. And actually, if the CFS is right, most of July would be shaping up to be quite a warm and dry sort of month. However, compared to the shorter range, it does look rather on its own with this. And the shorter range models, all three of them today, GFS, GM and ECM, they are all going in the same direction, which the first 10 days or so of July, fairly dry, and then increasingly unsettled from around the 12th of July onwards, somewhere around the 12th anyway, increasingly unsettled, going into potentially a very cool and unsettled spell of weather for the middle part of July. That's the way the shorter range models are definitely trending today. They might be trending wrong, but all we can say is that's the way they're going. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, and it could be that things are going to start going downhill quite a bit in around a week to 10 days' time. We shall see. Right, that's it for your video today. Tomorrow we're going to start off with the Gauss Weather's July forecast. We'll have your 5-day forecast as well tomorrow, and of course your regular week to 10-day video update. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.